And good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Behind the Curtain Interviews with Excellence. Absolutely thrilled to be doing another one of these yet again. We've had an absolutely fantastic roster of guys just coming through, finding out lots of information about them. I love doing this so much. And it doesn't stop because here tonight, ladies and gents, we have one of the next generation of rising stars. He's young, he's talented, he's charismatic, and he's a very funny guy. I've had the pleasure of talking with this guy behind the scenes quite a lot, and he is a very funny guy. Ladies and gentlemen, my pleasure to introduce to you the prodigy, the prodigal, Alfie Jaxyn. Hello, Alfie.
Hello, DJ.
How are you doing?
I'm all right. Yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Feeling a little tired today, but I'm feeling good now. I've got my questions lined up. How are you feeling about sitting in the hot seat tonight?
Honestly, I'm excited. I've been wanting to do one of these ever since you started the idea.
Good. Well, we've got quite a few people watching us. There's Belrev watching. Brian Chaplow, good evening. Zoe's watching as well. Good evening, Zoe. I hope you're all right. So is Kobe. Kobe's watching. It's nice to see you, Kobe. And there she is, Ruby. Evening, gents. Nice to see you watching as well. Please, guys, if you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section on the SME Facebook, SME YouTube, IWF Facebook, IWF Facebook group and page, IWF YouTube channel. We are all over here tonight, folks. Good evening, Blue Brev. Blue Brev's even tuning in. You got pretty up close and personal with Blue Brev not too long ago, if I do recall, but we will get into that. John, I got to say I'm excited to hear two awesome accents. So he must be one of the American lads tuning in. I'm glad we can entertain you with our accents. Ed Hunter as well. Evening, Brevs and Brevettes. I'm busy with something a bit more important at 8 p.m. I'm assuming he means the Sunderland match. I didn't know if you know, but Sunderland are playing. Enjoy the show. I'll watch back later. Evening, Cheryl. Lovely to see you. It's lovely to see everybody tuning in. But we are here for you, Alfie Jaxyn. Now, before we jump into these questions I've got, this is the time of the show where I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. Is there anything you want to get off the table first beforehand, before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff?
Nah, let's just start. Feed my ego, feed my ego.
Feed your ego. Army boy, good evening. Claire Stenson, nice to see you as well.
That's my oldest sister.
Oh, there we go. Bit of information already, folks, if you didn't know. So, here we are. Alfie Jaxyn in the hot seat. First question. I normally start off with something simple like this. Can you take us back to the moment that you first fell in love with wrestling?
Oh, it sounds so stupid. I was actually staying at my sister's, and it was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I used to sneak down early to watch Sky, and I was flicking through the channels, and WWE Superstars was on, and Kofi Kingston was. I don't know if it was Kofi and Evan Bourne, but Kofi was definitely on, and I saw him, and I fell in love with it, and I went home to tell my dad, and I was like, Dad, I found this new series. I think it's sick, not knowing what it was at the time. And me dad was like, that's not true wrestling. And he put World of Sport on. And ever since then, I've just been in love with all types of wrestling.
I love it. I love when you just accidentally come across something like that. It's how I burst onto the independent wrestling scene. Pure accident. Who were your biggest wrestling inspirations when you were watching that growing up?
The Miz, purely because I like the fact that he's a prick. You know, I've always found him funny. And Samoa Joe from the Independent. I don't like modern day Samoa Joe, but Samoa Joe when he was in like Ring of Honor back in the day, and that's definitely him.
All right. When you made the jump from watching wrestling as a fan to jumping in and actually starting to train, how would you describe your training, your regimen when you first started? Was it tough?
It was tough to begin with, but it was a mix between my attitude towards it. You know, I never intended on wanting to do wrestling. It was something that my dad ended up guilt tripping us into doing. I had no plans of it whatsoever. And I came from college I went into college, took all my gear in, and then I'd go to training and it'd just be constant workouts. So at the start it was tough, but honestly now it's even more tougher. It's like, aye.
When you first stepped into that ring for training, what do you think was the biggest challenge for you personally?
Um, yeah, the first bump is always difficult, but it's also the first time someone runs at you. So, like for example, there's this time where Don Bronson, who was one of my first trainers, I was lined up in the corner and he came running towards us. And obviously, you're not supposed to do anything. However, me being very new, I put my knee up and I kneed him straight in the knackers.
Oh,
And then I had a very pissed off Don Bronson and very scared me. He's saying, "Oh shit, I've hurt you, shit," and all this. Oh, it was awful, funny but awful.
You mentioned there Don Bronson being one of your first trainers or mentors,
Yes.
coaches. Were there any other specific mentors or coaches who played a pivotal role in the development of Alfie Jaxyn, or as you were formerly known, Nerds?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Obviously you had the coaches, Simon Winterwolf, Ulfric. You had Dustin Hart. But not only were the coaches like a massive part in it. You've also got the people that you like that I started training with. So Strange, you've got Walker and even Leyland. Me and Leyland or Spawn. We started training a month apart, and also he was the closest person in my age. So it's always been like a well-knitted, supportive group.
I like that, and I have noticed that everyone's very, very close there. It's not just wrestling; they like to hang out and do other things as well. They like the training together. I've seen some of the training that goes on, the hard work you guys put in. You really work well together, and it's just a testament to those trainers, them coaches, that are putting in that hard work for everybody else. Um, let's talk about your first match. What do you remember most about it?
I remember my original opponent left like a week before the match was supposed to happen. So the first plan was my first match was gonna be on Carnage's first show in April. I think it was their first show, but it was gonna be in April on the 15th or something. However, me and the previous promoter, Barris, we had an argument and I got pulled from the show. The argument was completely my fault, I was a cocky little shit. I still am, but I was tired and I was refusing to do what he said. So I get pulled from that show, and then a week later, another argument happens. My original opponent leaves. I panic. I messaged Barris saying I'm sorting out another opponent, if that's okay, and he was happy with it. And I rang up Dan Robertson Killjoy. I rang him up. He was available, and the match went perfect. We spent hours on the phone talking to each other. It was great.
That's good. I like that, the communication. We do have our first viewer question by Ruby. Who's your biggest inspiration, both personally and professionally?
Personally, it'd have to be my dad. I didn't like I said, I didn't want to do wrestling. I didn't mind watching it, but I had no intentions on training or even attending the shows. Like my dad dragged us to the first wrestling show we went to see. Before I was in wrestling, I was addicted to codeine and I was just having a rough life. And the first show my dad dragged us to was like a week after I came out of hospital.
Wow.
And the first training session, I told my dad, I was like, "This is it. I'll do one to keep you happy, but I'm not doing it again." But then, like, the more I went, it helped us out. I got sober. I regained body weight and everything. So it's
Look
just
here.
been like a
Look here
massive
now,
plus.
man. Look where you are now.
Exactly.
Massive, big difference. You did mention Carnage before, and some people might not know you did, in fact, have a Carnage Championship run. Now, when you won that championship, what was going through your head at the time? Because I know it was a very difficult time in your life.
Oh, it was rough. The whole day stressed to fuck. My opponent, ironically again, no showed the event. I'm not bad naming anyone, but my original opponent no showed the event, so we had to send someone to get the belt back off him. I was sure I wasn't going to have a match that night, and I felt really let down and pissed off as the night that I won it on was dedicated to my dad.
Understandably.
Luckily, Back Pigeon saved the day, literally, and I ended up beating him for the belt. It wasn't a perfect match. It wasn't a great match, but it was a good match, and I'd more think about what it meant rather than the actual match. Like, he
Well,
didn't have to.
that leads into the next question. What did holding that title mean to you personally and professionally?
Personally, it meant so many different things. The belt that's dedicated to Sean. I barely knew him. I met him like twice or something before he passed.
Yeah.
But I knew Amy really well. Like, she was my neighbour. So seeing her face when I held the belt meant so much to us. And also having like the crowd behind us for that one night, even though I was the quote unquote bad guy, having the crowd behind us and the whole motions of the night, it felt amazing.
So, while you held on to that championship, what do you reckon was your toughest match while holding it?
Well, I only had 3 matches.
Out of those 3?
The last match I had it, Championship Scramble, I lost. However, if you look back, the ref didn't count. But I lost it a flashback in the Championship Scramble. There was me, flashback, Belzy, this American kid, can't remember his name, Varak Vane or something. Him, he was really good.
Rings a bell.
And I want to say Craig Forsyth, but I'm not 100% sure on that part. But there was other people in there as well. That match was tough purely because I didn't know what to expect going into it, or what the crowd would think about a match with such complicated rules in a sense. But yeah, that match was tough, but it was also, I really loved that match as well.
Nice. I love a good championship scramble. While you were holding that belt, obviously it's dedicated to Sean. Everyone who saw it knows it's got his face plastered right on it.
Yeah.
Did you feel any pressure trying to live up to the expectations of being a champion that's honoring him?
Oh, 1,000%. I think you do. No matter what belt you hold, you have pressure put on you because it's a sign that the promoter trusts in you and believes you can do good things. But especially when a belt holds that much emotion and stuff, the pressure was 1,000% on. Like, you look at some of the previous holders, you had Jam Dog, Blizzard, Ronnie. I don't think Lee held it. Dustin held it at that time, but you still had such these big names, and it was me who was still in my early years. Well, I still am in my early years, but you had me who, like, I didn't fit the typical category of people who previously held them belts. I was really young. I was barely old enough to compete for the belt. First of all,
Hey, hats off to you. You still did it. And it was I remember the night, and I will say it was Mainland's Mania 3, I believe. And I remember seeing the emotion on your face. Everyone wearing, there we go. Everyone wearing these shirts. Lovely, massive picture of your dad there, which does bring us on to. It might be a touchy subject for you or some watching, but your father, Derek, he was one of, if not your biggest supporter. He loved to hate nerds. I seen it every time when you were coming out. Told everyone to kick your head in, but it was all in good fun. It was amazing. I think I already know this, but how did his support influence your career?
Massively, 100%. There was times where I'd hurt myself at training, and I'd go home. I'm like, I didn't have this is for me, and he just call us a pussy or something, you know. My dad was like, as much as he was caring, he wasn't like, what's the word, empathetic or something.
Yeah, empathetic.
He wasn't that much, you know. He'd handle stuff with humor, so he'd always make a joke out of the darkest stuff to help you. The support was massive. Or the crowd would be filled with people giving a yip, and all I could hear would be me dad beat up nerds, and it just that'd keep you going.
Is there anything that you can talk about that you remember when he's been there on attendance at a show, something that stood out to you, something he's done, maybe?
The Christmas show before he passed, 2023, we were at the El Cap Centre. It was me and Nate Sawyer versus Walker and Jamdog.
I remember that one.
I always make my entrance as I normally do. And I always went around wherever he was, so I could give him stick in particular. So I'd like call him a cripple or something, you know, just so I could get his reaction.
Yeah.
And I was walking up to him, and he put his leg out, and I fell over it, and I went bright red, and I was so pissed off looking at him. But thinking back, it was hilarious, and the crowd loved it. But it completely knocked us off.
Oh, I love it. Brilliant. Has there been any moments in the ring after his passing where I don't want to like say I believe in ghosts or anything, where you kind of felt his presence and you felt like I know he's seen that. I mean, I don't believe in that stuff personally, but I don't know about you.
Honestly, I'm not religious, and I don't believe in the sort of belief, if you know what I mean. No, I don't want to be offensive here or come off rude, but that's something I've personally never gotten into. So I can't say that I have. I mean, there's been times where I've shared the ring with people, and as they've came up to us after or before, like your dad's watching you and stuff like that. But I've never believed in anything like that, so I can't say I have felt his presence.
Del Boy was a legend, bruv. Certainly was. How did Del Boy's passing affect you as a performer in the ring? Was there any times afterwards you thought, you know what, I'm done, I can't carry on? If so, what pulled you out of it?
Oh, several times. My performance went completely dog shit after. It was I don't know if it was a lack of confidence, but there was multiple times I went up to Diego and Walker and Persona, and I was like, "Listen, lads, I've done what I've wanted to do in wrestling. You know, I got my dad to have my dad saw us have a wrestling match. He saw us have a few at this point. He's gone now. I don't want to do this anymore." At the time, it wasn't more so I hated wrestling, because I loved wrestling and I still do. It's purely because I wanted more free time to handle it the way I handled it was, and I hated leaving the house. But speaking to Diego, Walker, and Joe, sorry, I keep saying all the real names. But speaking to them, they like kept us motivated. They kept on talking us in to keep going. Like even if it was like, do this show, see how you feel, and it'll just be that show comes, and they're like, I think you should keep going, try it for another week or so, give it another shot, and eventually I just didn't leave.
It's nice to have the support behind you, though, and I know I do know you've got all the support in the world behind you. Do you now dedicate your, I'm not going to say career, but performances and achievements in his memory? Is there anything like you wish you could maybe see? I know IWF. He would have absolutely loved to seen you in IWF. Do you dedicate any of that to him?
Oh yeah, I wear a wrist tape a lot, and I always have DB wrote on or something. Well, now I've got a his replica tattoo on my arm, and it's got his ashes put in. So no matter where I wrestle or when, he's always going to be in the ring
Can
with
we
us
have a
now.
can we have a look at that tattoo again?
Oh, it's a dodgy photo. It's a dodgy angle.
Oh no, I can see it. That's really nice.
He had a husky on his arm, and that's the only tattoo he ever had. So when I was thinking about my 21st birthday, what did I want? I just figured I'd just get a tattoo.
It's honestly it's a beautiful homage to old Del Boy there. But as I've just said, I know he would have loved to see you at IWF, and let's talk about the IWF. How did it feel when you were first approached about it?
A relief, a massive relief. I'm not here. I'm not going to sit on here and badmouth anyone, and I'm not going to name names. But I was wanting done with the wrestling business, as I've previously said. And even if I was never to get on a show again, knowing that I could go to IWF and train at least, that was still another positive mindset for us. But yeah, I feel like if IWF was around sooner, I would have walked away sooner. However, that being said, having this time off between wrestling every month to now, it's helped us out a ton. You know, it gave us time to think about me new persona, me new attitude to the wrestling. It gave us a whole new light on the situation.
Speaking of shedding light on, well, putting light on things, Matty Bell Simpson, yeah, even Alfie, hope you haven't been having too many pies. Is there something behind pies that we need to know about here?
No, there isn't. There isn't.
Okay, okay. I had to
There
ask.
isn't, Matty.
So, you did debut for the IWF in that first pre-show match at March to Glory, DCW's pre-show. You teamed with Hybrid and Nate Sawyer against Big Rev, Walker, Persona, and Blue Brev Silfrena. What was the chemistry like between you, Nate, and Hybrid? Because I can kind of see you and Hybrid in a weird, wacky way, but Nate Sawyer throwing him into the mix, how was that?
Nate's scares the shit out of me. He really does. Especially, we walked out and he screamed at a kid, and I was in the ring and I still jumped. That wasn't make him look scary. That was a genuine reaction to that. Hybrid, it was different with him as we had history with the Elite 2.0, and me and Hybrid's been wanting to share the ring as a team for years. And that was our really first chance of doing so. So I felt really good with him. And the whole match in general, it felt like I was starting from scratch. Like, it's a completely new promotion, new name, new gear. It generally felt like I was just debuting.
So that's what I was wondering as well. Where did the name come from? It's a weird spelling for Jaxyn, Jaxyn.
So I was wanting to have something to do with me dad as my name. And my initials is AJS. So growing up, my dad always called us AJ, which pissed off my mum, but he would always call us AJ. And I had a list. I wanted to keep Alfie because I love the name. I don't know why, but Alfie is a definite. And I was just going through a list of names that start with J, and I saw Jaxyn. And I was like, I like it. However, same way that I did with Nerds, I wanted to make it unique to me. Like, I didn't want it to be another Alfie Jaxyn out there. So I just split up the name and just made it, Jack spelled it incorrectly. And I was like, that'll work.
I like it. It's very unique. So we do have an old friend here, Mr. OK. Hi.
I'll say hi back, but I'll just get messages constantly.
Evening, Mr. OK. And Matty Bell Simpson, always look ahead. Everyone's had or having a fresh start and a chance to do something you're fully in control of. Couldn't agree more.
Exactly.
Couldn't agree more. In that pre-show match, when you were up against Walker, Persona, and Silverana. What stood out to you most about it? Was there anything that you looked at and went, "Whoa, wow"?
The reaction to Nate, first of all, that was intense, especially like as I've previously said, especially when he screamed at that kid. I swear that kid started to cry or something, but that was intense. And it wasn't during the match technically, but after the match, hearing feedback from the fans, and when Walker hit us with a calf kick, there was a kid in the crowd that said he shouldn't be able to do that. That I was like, that's when you know
Yeah,
if something's going well. It felt refreshing having a whole new crowd with people that's never seen us wrestle before, besides like the odd two, and them odd two people were workers.
that
So
kind of
it
leads to
felt
the next question again. How do you feel the crowd responded to you, and what did that reception mean? Because it wasn't an IWF show; it's the pre-show for Dropkick, or the IWF partners. How did it feel? You reckon they responded well?
they did, however, I should have given him a lot more stick, and I didn't get much of a reaction as I was hoping to.
Fair, bruv, when you're shouting "I'm a bear" in the ring, I mean,
Sometimes, bears are scary. I'm a scary bloke,
you're not
You
really
know?
bear type though, bruv.
If you want to hear me growl, son, you didn't want to hear me growl. But it was fun. When it comes to getting reaction, it's naturally gifted to me, I feel like, purely because I am a wind-up merchant.
Ha, bear.
I am a wind-up merchant. But the whole starting fresh completely knocked us off guard. So I was so focused on the match and everything, I've completely forgot about everything else.
I'm proud of all my IWs. So you should be. So you should be. They're doing absolutely fantastic. We haven't even had the first show yet.
No.
So looking back, what do you think's been the biggest moment for you in your career so far? You've had a lot of nice moments.
There has been a few. I don't know. I know my favorite moment of my career so far.
Go for it.
Well, I don't know if it was called Mercy's Mighty Fight or the second Mercy show, but the first Mercy show we had a few days after Christmas, Alfie Spawn, and I had been asking for that match every week from Virus, constantly. Let us get in a ring with Spawn. Let us get in a ring. Like, I don't want a tag match. I don't want anything. I just want Spawn. Meeting him, telling him stupid shit like, give us a pack of Tang Fastics and a monster. That's all. And the match will be on. That's when the match finally got announced. I was buzzing, and then the match went ahead. And it's to this day, it's my favorite match.
Nice. Like you said, you two, you started not long after each other, and he's the closest to your age as well. I like that. Yes, Brev, the Empire does reign. What's the most important lesson that wrestling has taught you?
Don't be a pushover. Don't be a yes man. Being a licky ass isn't going to get your output bad breath. You know what I mean? It's been a weird journey. I never thought that I'd have this type of life, if you know what I mean. But it's been different, but it's taught us principles that other people have taught us in the industry. It's made us meet people from across the country. It's been
I've been privy to quite a few of those, especially I do remember a long drive to and from Scotland
yes.
with yourself. A hell of a night that was as well.
So I hate traveling.
Yeah.
To the point where my sister's wedding was in Hull, and I begged her for 6 months straight to let us attend on FaceTime because I didn't want to travel.
Oh, Cheryl, yeah, I remember one of your first matches when the ref was Liam Dafter and you were just ripping the piss right out of him. It was absolutely hilarious. Do you remember that?
I do. And Liam doesn't mind us saying this, and if he does, he messages after. But one of the best people to take the mick out in this world are big people. I'm not being offensive, but it's a stereotype and it's very easy to do.
I get it. You like people with glasses.
Exactly. Nerds, they're easy to pick on. Ginger people.
All right, we don't want to get cancelled, bro.
But Liam Dafter, BMD, whatever you want to call him, it was a great sport. And when you're in the ring, especially as a ref, you don't have to focus about much. But if you can take the piss out of people, it's just it makes you feel better, really, doesn't it? Like, it sounds awful. It does. It sounds awful. But if you're feeling bad, just in a friendly manner. I'm not saying be a bully, but if you're feeling bad about yourself, pick on someone else.
Bloody hell. Right. So, what would the Alfie Jaxyn of today tell the Alfie nerds of years ago who just started his wrestling journey?
Don't say yes until you're ready.
Very wise.
Just because you're offered something doesn't mean you should take it.
No, I completely agree there. I do. I've got to ask as well, going through everything that you've gone through over the years, how do you stay mentally strong in such a physically and emotionally demanding profession?
Oh, that is very easy. So
He's going to
the
say
way
monster.
I'm going to say a monster. I was actually. You want a bit of monster? Just humor, really. Never take life seriously. All my life, I've had a struggle, like especially with my dad. Like, my dad's been ill for as long as I remember. I was his young carer from the ages of 6 until he passed. And even when he was in hospital, the jokes that me and him would say to each other would be, honestly, if someone heard them, I'd be cancelled straight away.
Let's not.
So if there's a certain promoter out there that wants to cancel us because I might have,
Right.
I'll stop. But humor is the best defense mechanism in the world.
Humor's a very good medicine.
Yeah, exactly. People say laughter is the best medicine, and it's true. It's completely true. So the story. The night that my dad passed, when I was walking into the hospital, I saw the legendary Roy Walker on the outskirts of the hospital, and I gave him a hug, and we were talking about it, and having that connection with the Waters. Anthony Walker, he was one of the first people I ever spoke to in CCW. I used to give him lifts there and back. I still do, actually, little scrounger. But having that friendship with someone who was going through a similar situation helped out loads, and the humor doesn't stop there. Like, Amph joked about it tons, joked about everything. There was a time where my dad was in hospital in 2023 for the most part, and I went into training one day, and I was feeling low because I had to go and tell the lads that, I'm pretty sure we just signed Dean RPA with us. Anyway, I walk into the Connie Club, I say Amph gives us a hug. He's like, I've been speaking to your dad. And I was like, oh, where at? He's like, oh, I see you. And I was like, probably a bad time to tell you that we just had to sign papers to say he might not make it. And he felt so shit. But it was that laughter, It's that laughter helps through a lot.
I have noticed as well that your comedy, the way you have a laugh, it's very, very similar to Big Brev's.
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard you two speak backstage before. Ooh, we cannot repeat a lot of that stuff on it.
Mm.
You're both a part of IWF though, so you're still working together. And speaking of IWF, now that you are part of that roster, what are your goals?
Well, I'm going to do what every basic wrestler says. Obviously, I want the main belt. Obviously, eventually, whether it's when I win the Rumble or 5 years down the line. See,
Jane remembers.
you get different reactions from people in the roster. You know, Dagon hates my humor. He understands why I do, but he hates it. Whereas Big Brav loves it. But I bet you a question. I do want the main title eventually, but honestly, I just want to stick around IWF for as long as I can. I want to be one of the names that come up. When you think of IWF, I want my name to be in the conversation.
I think it will be, and I think you're going to be here for a long, long time. But speaking of for a long, long time, where do you see yourself in the IWF in, let's say, 5 years' time?
A lot bigger than what people expect us to be. I do. I want us to be in the conversations of like North. And when you think of Northeast wrestling, you know, you've got Full Tilt, you've got Breakout, you've got all these promotions. You've got Dropkick, obviously, Dropkick, all partners. You've got Wrestling with Pride. You've got all these promotions. I want our names to be up in there with the likes of. Like, I want us to be getting likes of Rampage Brown and all that. I do. I want us to prove to people that we weren't made by anyone, that we made ourselves.
Yes. Yes. We all put our hard work into this. I absolutely love that answer. I really do. Do you have your sights set on any specific opponents? Or is there anyone specifically you would like to face across the independent circuit that we know?
Persona.
Oh, that was
I've never,
fast answer.
I've never faced him. I've faced him in tag matches, and you know he's booted us in Adam's apple a few times, but Persona is definitely one. Slug at Hampton, because of how I first got into the wrestling.
Isn't he like 5 times your size?
It doesn't matter. I was walking back to the car with my dad after my first CCW event, and he's the one who told us to just give it a try. So, as little as we talk nowadays, you know, I'm always going to credit him for being part of the reason. There was a few others. Ewan. I was supposed to face him, never happened.
That would be an interesting one.
A battle with John Dog again. I'm not going to say a match because it's never a wrestling match with John. It's a brawl, and I'd love to do one more time with him.
What was the last one? Was it Welfare Warzone?
No, last one was whatever the show in January was called. I didn't take notice of the name of the shows. I used to just attend.
I remember one show, and I can't remember where it was. I think it was Easington. It might be in the Welfare.
It was Welfare Warzone. If you're talking about the 5-way.
Yeah, it might have been, but you went all the way up to the top where the bar is. You emptied a bin over your head and everything. I love that match.
He puts a bin on my head, and that bin, I thought it was going to be empty. That bin was filled. It stunk. He was brainers, and I'm sat on the floor going, that was awful. But that match is actually, you asked earlier about the biggest match of my career. That match probably would be it, because that made people look at us in a different way. Going into that match, you had people saying, "Wise, you know, that match is there for comedy." You had like the A-Dog, who exceptionally talented. You know, he's good talent, and Rico, who's Rigo, and look, you had all of us, and you had Jam, and we're backstage, and just talking about it. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go out there, and if you hit us with something, I'll just have to take it, because I'm not gonna say no.
What else are you gonna do?
So just beat us up, and I remember doing the match, absolutely killing. And then Jam comes backstage, and he's just, well done, kid. Yeah. Next time, next time we'll meet again, it'll be more difficult. I was like, oh.
As announced earlier today, I believe it might have been a few days ago. You're actually going to see Jam again very, very soon.
Yeah.
Because you're both going to be at Bash in Biker.
Bash and Biker.
How do you feel about this show?
I don't really know, because I don't want to disregard it and be rude. Obviously it means a lot, especially for Wrestling with Pride. You know, it's their first show. Or is it the second?
It's Wrestling with Pride's first show.
Wrestling, because it's a new promotion, yeah. It's a huge opportunity. They've got some big names on there, but knowing the opponents that are in the Rumble, especially Strange and John, I'm looking forward to it. Bit of a trek. What
do you mean, bit of a trek? How do you? Hey, it makes a difference. It's usually me heading all the way over that end. Now you're heading over my end.
But that's in your contract.
What do you mean my contract? How do you know what's in my contract? So I do have one more question for you. And it's not for me to know. It's for everybody else. Finally, what is the one thing that you would like people to take away after not only watching you here talking about your life, but watching you in the ring, watching your career?
Honestly, it sounds cliche again, but just because you see someone laughing and having a good time and smiling doesn't mean that they're okay. And like, mental health comes in different ways, you know, tons. I know you were on about it earlier. It comes in different formations and it mutates. It's not always the same. So my anxiety will be different in your anxiety, or you know, your depression will be different than strangers' depression. I'm not saying that they have it, but you know, it comes in different forms and it gets everybody completely different. So just don't be afraid to reach out, you know, whether it's just Macad or a Tory, like, talk to anyone if you feel like you need to talk.
I'd love to chop him for his partner.
Right there, we want you tips, you love it.
Oh, you gotta love it. Yeah, but you are absolutely right, and I think that's going to lead me into into this announcement that next week we will be having a very special behind the curtain for Mental Health Awareness Week. And I will be joined by, I'm not going to name him yet, I'm going to wait until he wants me to announce his name and the whole event, but I will be joined by someone on screen who will be wanting to share his story, his experiences with mental health. I'm sure you'll be watching as well, Alfie.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a very emotional one. But that is all 30 questions. And it is now your time to say anything you want, plug anyone, anything, get anything off your chest that we might not have covered during the questions. Go for it, bruv.
Right. This one's for the viewers. If it's late at night and you're feeling peckish, you don't want Indians, you don't want Chinese, you want Doritos. Now, Doritos delivers a knockout taste, you know, beautiful pizzas. That is all.
Just a pizza shop.
Silk, not any pizza shop, the pizza shop, DJ.
Are they going to deliver from wherever they are at my house?
If you pay them enough, surely. You know, I ordered 2 bottles of Pepsi not that long ago because, like, you're thirsty.
I've got a can of Pepsi down here somewhere.
Like, they'll deliver anything.
Nice. Well,
yes.
The very unique final words from Alfie Jaxyn. Grab a pizza at the viewers. Are you being paid for it? I don't think he's being paid for this sponsor. I think he just really loves the viewers.
The only thing I get paid is other people's tax dollars. So
Cheryl must know what the viewers is. She agrees.
Right. SR7 postcode, you know what the Beatles is?
Well, very strange ending to tonight's Behind the Curtain Interviews with Excellence with the Prodigy, Alfie Jaxyn, one of the youngest rising stars in independent wrestling. You are going places, I can tell. It's been an honor to have you on here. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, everybody that's joined us either during the show or going to watch the show afterwards. And we will see you next week for that very special Mental Health Awareness Week show. I've been DJB, King of Media. That's been Alfie Jaxyn, the Prodigy. And we will see you next time. Good afternoon, good evening.